Greetings and welcome to Bubble Hearthing. I'm ShadowBlue13 and this is going to be my Mage class card review for the Boomsday project. So without further ado, let us get into the Shooting Star. It is a 1 mana, deal 1 damage to a minion and the minions next to it. This reminds me somewhat of a maybe cheaper costed Arcane Explosion, which is just a 2 mana, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions, which sees absolutely zero play right now. Even with, any kind of spell damage, it's not used at all. So, while you can target this onto certain things, you can make sure it hits things. I would rather run Arcane Intellect. Sorry about that. And have the randomness and maybe hit your opponent's face, than having this and be like, well, I could maybe kill some 1-drops, and beyond that, not so much. So, I don't like this card at all. Even with the new spell damage things we're having coming out, where we deal 3 damage to 3 minions. No, I think this card is bad. I'd just run Arcane Intellect, really. Alright, the 4 mana Cosmic Anomaly. It is an elemental, it has 4/3 on the stat line, and it has spell damage +2. That's something they've been trying to see creep up. First it had that evolved Kobold, I believe, and there was a Jungle Moonkin as well, which gave both parties, both players, +2 spell damage, which could be a little scary at times, especially when you got that off like an evolve or something, some random minion creation. Oh jeez, made me a little nervous. But this one's 4 mana 4/3. And it's obviously just for you. The stats here are very similar, or identical, basically, to Kirin Mage. And I feel like Kirin Mage is going to overshadow this card. I don't think that the Cosmic Anomaly is very good. Also, because it's a 4 mana. If this was like a 2 mana 1/1 spell damage +2, oh, okay, come on, that's great. I mean, you do present the case where this thing has to die, otherwise you're going to unleash a torrent of spells that are going to have the extra 2 damage, which is very significant, and, just completely blow up your opponent's face. However, how many things can you play the turn you play this? Because you have to count on this thing dying immediately. So, okay, you can play this in a Fireball for 8 mana. Usually if you're playing the kind of tempo, burn, aggressive mage, you don't want to get to that 8 mana turn unless you just play 2 fireballs and win the game. You want to end it up by around turn 6, turn 7. You should have the board locked down, or you should have their health down to nearly nothing. Beyond that, let's see here. I really don't like it so much for that specific reason. You could maybe play 1 spell with it. And if you're only going to play 1 spell with it, then I think that you should use the guy coming up pretty soon. What's that? The Celestial Emissary, which we will review momentarily. So I think this card might be a little overhyped. I'm not really too crazy about it. Next up, 2 mana Research Project. The Mage gets a project. Each player draws 2 cards. In the flavor text, if you look into your Hearthstone thing and take a look at it, it mentions the Cold Light Oracle, which is kind of funny. I like that. So each player draws 2 cards for a Research Project. This is what you want to be running if you are in the deck identity that is Tempo Mage and Burn Mage, and even potentially some kind of Minion Mage. Although if you're running that, you could also run the book that if you draw spells you discard them, otherwise you draw 3 cards. That's really nice. That was released in the previous set. So let's see now though. Each player draws 2 cards. The fact that your opponent draws some could be a little unfortunate. However, you're getting cards. If you're playing just spells, throw them at your opponent's face, you can draw 2 cards and throw them at their face immediately. You can play this with Sorcerer's Apprentice, and in that case it's really good. I mean, it's 1 mana, draw 2. If you get another one, okay, it's 2 mana, draw 4, and then you throw spells at your opponent's face. Very nice card. Gonna see a lot in Tempo Mage, maybe even like some kind of combo mage. You just want to draw cards. I don't see why not. Moving on, we have the Celestial Emissary. Pardon me there. 2 mana, 2/1 elemental. Battle Cry. Your next spell this turn has spell damage +2. So this is what I see overshadowing the Cosmic Anomaly, because it costs less. It's a 2 mana card. You could reliably say, okay, turn 6, play this, Fireball you for 8, which is a very significant amount. Turn 4, play this, Frostbolt you for 6. Okay, wow, not bad. You basically got Fireball out there, but with a 2/1 body. Granted, it only lasts for the 1 spell, but I think that's all you're really going to need to do when you play this card, is just get that 1 spell off and you'll be happy with it. Also, noted it has 1 health, and it's an elemental, so it could definitely go in any deck running Frostlit Jaina, which has an extra little boost there. Something to note with the interactions with this card. So have you ever played Rogue or seen a Rogue and you want to play like a like a 4-mana reduction on a spell? Maybe you want to get it free. I don't know, something that costs 4. I don't even care. So you play Prep. That reduces the spells in your hand by 3. Cool. Then you play the coin. Then you realize that you just reduced the cost of the coin by 3 mana, and everything else just jumps back up, and you've really gained 1 mana by using 2 cards. You wasted Prep. Do not play the coin immediately after you play this card. You will give the coin +2 spell damage, and it will be a very spell damaging coin that will give you 1 mana, and that's it. So just a little thing to note there. Play your coins first. Next up. Oh, in case you couldn't tell though, I like this card a lot. Next up we have the 6 mana Meteorologist. A battle cry for each card in your hand. Deal 1 damage to a random enemy. So they're trying to push another thing here. Last set they tried to push, in the Witchwood they tried to do a Hand Druid, which ended up kind of working. It was Token Druid, but Wisps of the Woods was actually a pretty solid card in that deck. So now they're trying to push Hand Mage. 6 mana 3/3. So can you play a 6 mana 3/3? Well, at the most you're going to be able to do 9 damage, spread out kind of randomly. So how's that compare? It's a nice amount of damage, I'm not going to lie. It's a pretty good chunk there. If you're playing this in Hand Mage, and Mage with a whole lot of cards in their hand, you're most likely playing Big Spell Mage as well. I'm going to assume that Hand Mage is Big Spell Mage with a few extra cards kind of tacked in there. So would you play this instead of a big spell, basically? No, I think you could put it alongside it, probably. You would probably hope to clear your opponent's board and then play this, but now you're playing aggressively just because you want to deal 9 damage to their face. It's a huge amount of damage for 6 mana. It's really good. But I don't think that that's what you really want to be doing in that deck. I don't think that's that deck's identity. And I don't really see any other mage utilizing a large hand size without playing all the cards. What if you don't have a whole lot of cards? What if it's turn 6 and you play it and it deals like 2 or 3 random damage? That's terrible. Don't do it. So I don't think this card's really going to be that great. You might see it in a Big Spell Mage, maybe one of them just to kind of get another board clear out to kill a few other things. But I don't even think he's going to see that. Astral Rift. Talking about cards I don't think I'm going to see play. 2 mana, add 2 random minions to your hand. So how's this going to work out? Well, the first thing I thought about was Unstable Portal, which isn't really fair. Because, as Reynad, I believe, has said, well, Unstable Portal is a card where you play 2 mana, and a certain percent of the time, you win the game immediately. Because the minion that you pulled out of it is just super crazy insane, either just on its own, or the fact that it might have been another class minion put into your deck now, your hand rather, or the discount just makes it crazy overpowered. This foregoes the discount, and just gives you an extra minion. This is bad. Of course, there's going to be times where you get super crazy, to get the perfect minions, you get some kind of awesome combo in this thing. Oh my goodness, you get, some kind of thing that just kind of, you get combo pieces that your opponent has, and now you're able to go crazy. But I don't think, those cases are going to be very few and far between, and Trollden, go ahead, grab all those things up. There's going to be a couple of them for you. But otherwise, I don't think this card's going to see any play. It's just bad. Alright, 4 mana Unexpected Results. Summon 2 random 2-cost minions, improved by spell damage. This is the first time we're seeing a card, a spell, that doesn't deal damage, that is being affected by spell damage. So, and also I kind of like the, almost the clarifying text here. The 2 and the number of creatures you summon is spelled out. However, the 2 in the cost of the minions, which is being improved by spell damage, by the way, is the number 2. So there's a little distinction there. So you will always summon 2 minions, but their cost will differ depending on whether you have spell damage or not. Now, enough with the explanation of the card, let's go with the review. What do I think about this card? I really don't like it. You're going to see some memes where they're going to pull like 2 Doomsayers where they're trying to get 2 like Knife Jugglers, and they're going to cry. Or they're going to get like Knife Jugglers and such, or 2 Sorcerer's Apprentices, or Radiant Elementals, because they're also 2 mana cards. And, well, that's just going to be fantastic for you, isn't it? That's pretty much one of the best case scenarios on no spell damage bonus. Unfortunately, you can't really rely on having much more than 2 spell damage, I believe. If you're able to get this to +6 spell damage, and you get 2 8-drops, that's great. Even +4 spell damage, and you get 2 6-drops. You're doing okay. But the 2 drops, 2 drops are alright. You're usually going to get a decent amount of stats, but for 4 mana, I don't think it's worth it. 3 drops, even a lot of 4 drops are actually pretty bad. Even though you get 2 of them for 4 mana, the setup required means you're investing more resources and mana into this. So I don't think this is good, even if you get +4... No, sorry. Even if you get +2 spell damage. If you manage to get +4 or +6 somehow, which is possible but very unlikely, then I could see this going. But I don't. That's going to be a very, very fringe case. It's going to be a funny card, but it's not going to be a very good card. You have the 7 mana, 5/5 Astromancer. Battlecry, summon a random minion with cost equal to your hand size. Now, initially, I didn't like this card. I was like, no, it's another one of those random big hand mage things. But consider this now. 7 mana, 5/5. Well, that's bad stats. What do you really need on a 7 mana card with no effect in order for it to be played? You need an itchy nose, first off. That helps. You also need, well, 7 mana, 7/7, doesn't see any play. That's War Golem. You're not going to do that. 7 mana, 8/8, would that see play? Maybe a bit. I could potentially see that, but it's just on the edge of, like, you know, also just not being worth it. 7 mana, 9/9. Yes, every single day someone would play a 7 mana, 9/9 if it was available. Now that, and beyond that. So you really want to get at least 4/4 out of stats. Of the minion that you're summoning with this thing. Is that possible? Absolutely. You're going to get, at the most, a 9 mana cost minion. Usually you want to get 8 mana cost minions, because on average, 8 mana cost minions are actually better for their effects or for their values than the 9 mana cost minions, which are just kind of funny, weird cases. I could see this card being played, actually. I can see this being pretty good. You put it down as another threat, aside from Alana, which is usually your big spell mage finisher. And as well as Frostlich Jaina. I like this card. And I think Big Spell Mage, Hand Mage, could definitely benefit from this. Alright, the legendary minion for Mage. 3 mana, 2/4, Stargazer Luna. I really like this artwork. I think this is, like, really nice. Just saying. Anywho, though. After you play the rightmost card in your hand, draw a card. So this is a new mechanic where it's actually talking about card position in your hand. Notably, the rightmost card in your hand, my right, you're also right because you're looking at the screen from the same perspective, is the fresh card that you just pulled off the top of the deck. So that adds a lot of variability. If it was the leftmost card in your hand, you just had this up to just pretty much dump your hand and refresh it, like a Malchezaar's Imp, except for anything you play, which is crazy. But because it has the randomness of you're getting cards off the top of your deck, it's going to be unknown cards, then I'm not too sure. It could disrupt any sort of huge tempo plays you have. But let's consider this now. Would you play a 3 mana 2/4? Probably not. I don't think so. I mean, there's a 3 mana 3/4 that no one plays. Spider Tank. It might see some playing out because there's a mech, but I still don't think that's going to happen. Alright? So you're not playing a 3 mana 2/4. Would you play a 3 mana 2/4 that said draw a card? Yeah, I mean, some people actually play... Is it Novish Inventor? I think it's Novish Inventor. Where 4 mana. Isn't it 4 mana? 4 mana 2/4, draw a card? Yeah, so people play that sometimes in very combo-driven decks. So they would do that. Now, granted, I'm assuming that you're going to play at least one card next to Stargazer Luna, but you're going to get whatever card's effect. It's not like you're throwing something away. I think this is actually a good card. I don't think it's super crazy overpowered. You can see some crazy plays where it's basically just going to be an auctioneer. You're going to dump your hand, throw a few spells at your opponent's face, just throw them out there, and it's just going to keep going. If it doesn't die, it's great because you can keep doing things. But beyond that, I think it's just a fair card. I think I like it. It's probably going to go in a couple decks, definitely. You could even play this in like a minion deck and have like little things. But the real synergy with this thing comes in with the next card, Luna's Pocket Galaxy, the 7 mana Mage legendary spell. Change the cost of minions in your deck to just 1. So they're trying to push, you play this with Stargazer Luna, you play a very minion heavy deck, obviously, and then you just keep playing off the top of your deck the cards, the minions that you're getting, because they all cost 1. So this immediately reminds me of Jungle Giants, and I loved that, because I opened it when I was getting the packs. I would never have crafted it, but it was a lot of fun to play, you know, because you would play a bunch of big dudes and your opponents would kill them because they weren't really good, they just happened to have 5 attack, and then you would draw cards with Nourish and Ultimate Infestation, and they would all be 0 mana cards, and then you'd play all the big dudes, and then it's like, oh no, what do? And then you refill your hand a little bit and you play more big dudes. And it came with Barnabas, which was a 5-mana 8/8, which was a huge tempo swing, which is supposed to help recover from the earlier kind of forced loss of tempo, I'm going to say. Well, this is a 7-mana do-nothing, and I don't think we can afford to play... I just don't think we can afford it. I don't think that whatever deck you're running this in, which is obviously some sort of minion-heavy mage, I don't think you can afford to play a 7-mana do-nothing. Especially with other decks out there that could be pretty fast. Like, honestly, I think this is just such a tempo loss that you can't recover from it. And even when you do get your cards, okay, so you drew a card. You drew a minion. It costs 1. That's nice. I mean, what, ideally, maybe you get Antonitis? You have a decent amount of card draw. Well, no, that's actually the opposite of what I want to say. On 7 mana, plus whatever card draw you usually have, you're probably going to go through a decent portion of your deck. So you can't reliably have that many things that you really need to reduce to 1. I don't like it. I don't see it happening. But that is it, thankfully. I hate to end on this note. Let me go back up here. There we go. Much nicer. Alright, so that is it for the Mage review for the Boomsday project. Please stay tuned. I believe next up is going to be the Paladin review. Thank you very much for tuning in. And good night or good morning, depending on where you are. And as always, good luck.